Hello and welcome to the Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter. I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. My eye is still messed up, and that is why I'm wearing glasses. I haven't worn glasses in 30 years on a regular basis, but now I'm wearing them till my eye is fixed. I don't know what's going on with my left eye. Okay, so question is, what is the worst case scenario that can happen if you privately lend money to a house flipper? Now, obviously the absolute worst thing that can happen is that the guy steals your money, but assuming you are not going, assuming you're lending to somebody reputable, what really can happen? Like my situation, let me tell you some other situation. So the worst case scenario that's happened with me is that I've lost a little money on a deal and I always made a lender hold. I have never, ever had a lender lose money with me, ever, right? So I've lost a little bit of money on a couple of deals. You know, you'd think I'm smart enough not to drive in an area with a dead spot, but I'm driving in an area with a dead spot. So me personally, I borrowed, many millions of dollars from private lenders. I've never had a lender lose money with me, ever. Even when I lost a little bit of money on a deal, I made the lender whole and got all his money back. But so the first thing, obviously, and I brushed over it, but you got to make sure the guy is legitimate. He's not a guy who's going to steal from you. That's number one. Assuming you trust the guy, what could happen is, sometimes rehabs go bad, right? Sometimes you estimate X for a rehab and it ends up being more. You get stuck in the middle with no money. That could be a problem. So what happens? What if you're caught in the middle? So I'm bidding right now and buying a property, and I buy properties all the time where other rehabbers just underestimated their cost and they get stuck. So you as a private lender should have the ability to tell the flipper, listen, I'm taking the house and I'm going to get the property finished myself. The flipper should be okay with that. And you should be protected with a lien on the property where you can go say, I'm going to foreclose on the property because we had terms of, let's say, a year, and it's been a year and a half and nothing's happening and I'm not happy. You should be able to take back the property and finish it. That is really like the worst case scenario, right? Because let's face it, you don't want to do the work, right? You want to just get your returns. But any reputable real estate investor is going to get out of that as soon as possible. Sometimes this never happened to me, but I shouldn't say it never happened. It's happened to me that the deal cost more than expected. I put in my own money to finish it. I've documented it so that I get that money back. That's happened. But no, it could come that you're dealing with someone who just is short on cash at the time, and he may say, listen, for another 20 grand we can finish it. You're going to get all your principal back first, right? That's the important part, right? Whoever puts money into the deal should get their money back first, and then we'll make a profit on it, or whatever, we'll break even on it. I don't know what the situation that we're talking about is, but it should be a situation where any additional funds you give should come out to you first. You should get paid back first. So that is the situation. Another situation is assuming. So let's just talk about the dangerous situation. Dangerous situations are if you're not insured and the property burns down, property gets hit by lightning, truck drives through the property, there's an earthquake, whatever the hell it is, natural disaster. So then you're in trouble. So you need to make sure the property's insured to protect against those things. There really is nothing else that can happen, but you should be getting decent enough feedback. There should be a decent enough communication that you know what's going on. So I would say good communication is once a week, once every 2 weeks, saying, hey, this is what happened. Maybe here's some pictures, looking at what's going on. We're on track, or we're behind by a couple of weeks, but we're going to sell it and we're going to do fine. Market's great, or we're going into contract and this is the number. So let's talk about what could happen, right? We're at a very, very strong real estate market, and we've been in an up market for 12 years, right? Maybe more, 14 years, right? Let's say 2008 was the bottom in New York. So we're 2022, 14 years, which is a long time, right? Up markets usually don't last that long. So the market's going to shift, right? I don't know when, I don't know by how much, I don't know for how long, but the market's going to shift. We can't be in a crazy ass hot market like we are now forever. So what does that mean? That means that, in theory, me or anybody can buy a property, get into a project, assume we're going to sell it for price X, and we may sell for a little bit lower. Now, thankfully, any decent real estate investor or house flipper is going to have his finger on the pulse of the market. So let me tell you what's going on. I know people in other markets where they see things already leveling out. That's not happening in New York right now. In New York, we're still super hot. Things are selling. I went to contract property for over $100,000 more than asking. It's insane. So that's great. So we haven't seen that shift yet, but we're going to see a shift. So theoretically, I could go into a project, or anyone can go into a project, assuming they're going to sell it for X, and see the market then softens. So I don't believe the bottom's going to drop out, right? But it could say less. So maybe let's say we're down 10%. So I thought I was going to sell a property for $700,000. Now it looks like I'm going to sell it for $630,000. There should be enough room in the property that we're not going to lose money on it, even a 10% drop, 5% for sure. So I think it's important that if you, as a private investor, are in that and you hear about things like that, then you jump all over that and you say, hey, are we okay? Are we still good, right? What I've been doing, because I've been overly cautious for like 5 years, is that I have been trying to get shorter and shorter projects. So I've been trying to get wholesaling deals. I'm trying to get into wholetailing deals where I can get these things on the market as soon as possible. But I've also bought a lot of properties recently where I have to evict people, and that's taking a long time. I had a call today from a police officer in one of my properties where I'm evicting, and one of the guys left, and the guy who left is stealing stuff from that guy. Like, this is kind of bullshit. But eventually all these people are going to get out. And when they get out, I'm going to put these things on the market really fast. But that is a sort of an obstacle to selling a property that's almost out of my control, right? I'm at the mercy of the courts. So you've got to understand that a good real estate investor is going to have his finger on the pulse of the market, probably better than most people, right? In general, the media is going to jump on this, hey, we're in a down cycle, at least 6 months to a year after it really happens. We will know it, right? If I put a property up for sale at a price that I think is fair, and I usually price things low, and it's not moving right away, I may reevaluate if I screw it up, but if that happens a couple times, I'm gonna know the market's softening. So it's important to have a real estate investor who has experience, right? I think I have the unique experience of being in the real estate industry, real estate finance industry, the mortgage business, during that downturn. So that has been tattooed on me, and I know exactly what the bottom falling out of the market feels like, and I know how to prepare for it. So I have been shortening my duration on deals, not getting into the longest rehabs, trying to get out of property as soon as possible, getting into contract as soon as possible, taking a big down payment so that if the market falls on a longer project, and at least I have a good down payment. So if the market shifts, right, and this has happened, buyer bails, I get to keep the deposit most of the time. So, if I just had a deal that I'm going into contract to sell, and on the offer, the guy told me he's going to put $50,000 down. I'm selling property for $495,000. He's going to give me $50,000, which is good. And the attorney sends me something and says, only putting $25,000 down. Guess what? I'm not doing it. If you're not going to keep your word and put the $50,000. Now, theoretically, if that guy bails because, the market shifts and I'm paying too much, I'm going to keep that $50,000, or maybe I'll settle. But so if I have to sell for less, I'll make up for it. And I've had deals like that where I've kept the deposit, sold it, and in the end, for a little less, but in the end, I did great because with the deposit and the new amount, it was all good. So it's important to work with somebody who is legitimate, somebody who you trust, and somebody who is going to have his finger on the pulse of the market so that not if, but when the market shifts, he can be on top of it. So where he's going to say, listen, market's softening a bit. We're going to try and finish this much quicker than we expected. We want to get this under contract as soon as possible because, market might be down 5% if we wait another 3 months. So there are ups and downs in the market. Market's always cyclical. There's tons of guys in the business today. Tons. I know many of them who can't even imagine that the market's going to shift. Oh, it's just appreciation. I should close on everything because we're going to appreciate. Everything's not going to appreciate. We're going to have negative appreciation at some point. It might be quick. It might be a small amount. It might turn, but it's going to happen. So it's important that you deal with somebody who's got their finger on the pulse of the market. So what could happen sometimes is that you think a project's going to cost X and it costs X. It costs 1.2X. So should be enough room in the deal to make it happen. If you're in good communication with the operator, let's say the operator is the flipper and you are the lender, things like that shouldn't come up as a surprise. Hey, guess what? We didn't count on this, but every time it rains, we got water in the basement. We're going to spend $8,000 to de-water the basement. When you count on it, it's going to reduce our profit a little. The market may make up for it, but that's what's going on. This is the kinds of things we should talk about. Hey, we really want to do the sheetrock this week, but the plumber's got 3 more things he wants to do behind the walls. He can't come back today because he's working on a big project. He's come back next week. After he comes in, we're going to put the sheetrock on. Hey, we're supposed to paint, but the spackle, the tape and spackle guy didn't finish the ceilings. He's coming back tomorrow with the stilts. It's going to take an extra 3 days. This is just the way rehabs work. These are the kinds of things that you should be in good communication with the operator and the private money lender should be in contact with each other. Okay, so that's the way it is. If you guys are interested in lending or interested in flipping, feel free to call me. The office phone number should be on this. I hope this was helpful. If you're interested in all the ways I can help you, you can go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in lending, I am looking for 2 new sources. 2 of my sources, one stopped lending, one passed away. So I'm looking for new sources. Feel free to let me know if you want to get involved, which is really passive real estate investing, because you lend me money, I tell you what's going on, and then I give you your return on your money, and either turn that money or give you back your money, either way. But I'm looking for new funding sources. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you very, very much for watching.